Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wouldnt podcast. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode. And if this is your first time, well then welcome to the podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it because there is plenty of lads who have been on already, which you can scroll back and listen to. But this episode is brought to you by Maori's Coffee, the best coffee bean in the business, who are now giving Wouldnt listeners a special 20% off discount for all your coffee and tea needs. Just enter the code LAD03, that's capital LAD03, at the checkout to claim your discount. Or you can head over to wouldnt.com and all the information is there. And as always, if you enjoy this episode, please give it a share. It's very much appreciated. And I have an absolute lad for you here, so let's get to it.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad. What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
What a lad. Well, today I have an absolute treat for you all with one of the biggest lads from the South. He was a Southland Stag legend and he's played over 100 games for the Highlanders, which included scoring one of the most debated tries of all time. He's also played for the New Zealand Maoris, and of course he's reached the ultimate goal of becoming an All Black. More recently, he spent some time in Japan with the Black Rams, and now he's over in France dominating for Biaritz. And if you talk to any of the Highlander lads, they will tell you that he is the ultimate lad. It is the great Elliot Dixon. Welcome, mate.
What an intro. What an intro, mate. Making shivers, giving me shivers.
The Ray Warren of the podcast.
Exactly.
Mate, how are you, though? I hear you've been battling COVID the last week. How was that?
Yeah, I got COVID again. I got it first in Japan about a year ago. Then got the double vax, thought I'd be sweet, got COVID again, and then I've been in bed for 5 days. The wife has been looking after the 3 kids and dropping them off at school, picking them up and looking after me upstairs. So, yeah, horrible, but glad to get out of isolation, get the negative test and back into training and all that sort of jazz, bro.
Was it the same strand? Were they both COVID or Omicron?
Mate, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what letter in the Greek alphabet we're up to at the moment, but it was one of them. It wasn't as bad as the Japanese one, to be fair, just because I think I had it without the vaccination. And yeah, I was down for about 9-10 days with that one. But I think it was Omicron because it wasn't as bad and it was over pretty quickly.
True. You must have sloppy hygiene to be catching so much COVID, do you?
Nah, I'm blaming it on the kids. Blaming it on the kids going to school and
bringing back COVID.
That's not me. It's not me. I promise. It's not me.
Mate, it must have been tough for your wife, though, to be fair, looking after the 3 kids and yourself.
Yeah, well, looking after the 4 kids. Yeah, she's been a trooper, especially coming over here, different language, moving 30 hours at least away, and then with COVID and all the border controls and MIQ just only recently announcement today that there might be a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, it's been tough on everyone, but especially Paige and the kids. The kids are straight into full French school, which has been very interesting. Yeah, so it's been the first 4 months has been pretty tough.
Yeah, how old are your kids?
So Huxley, my eldest boy, is 6. Toby is 5, so he was pretty quickly thereafter. And Tui, she's 2 now.
And how have you found the whole lifestyle in France? Are you enjoying it?
You're starting to now. Yeah, the first part is obviously just a bit of a shock with anywhere if you're moving your whole family and different culture, different language and all that sort of stuff. But we're in probably one of the nicest parts of the world in south of France and stone's throw from Spain and you can pretty much fly anywhere in Europe and for an hour and you're in a different country. So you're starting to settle in. The kids are better at drop-offs at school. They're not crying as much. So that's always a good sign. But yeah, bro, it's starting to get better.
And the footy? How's the footy side been?
Yeah, footy's been hard, man. Yeah, top 14 is tough. It's a lot more forward orientated game, especially set piece focused. Big boys, big skillful boys that can they can step if they want to, but they look to run over you first, or maul or scrum, and then they've got some class backs. But the rugby, it's been a step up, I think, from top league, but it's just different. It's just a different thing. It's not as fast probably as top league, but it's a step up physically and in different areas.
And how Biaritz going?
Yeah, we're at the bottom at the moment, but we've had a couple of close games that if they'd gone our way, then we'd be maybe 11th instead of 14th. So there's only about 4 points, which is one win from 10th place to 14th place. So we just need to string some confidence together with the boys and get a result, and they'll change it. I think the boys have lost 5 on the trot. I've been injured, unfortunately, but so the confidence is down, and it's pretty hard to stop that kind of momentum when it starts to snowball.
And is there promotion relegation? How does that work? Is it automatic?
So the 14th place, if you come 14th, you automatically go down to Pro D 2. That's not where you want to be. So 13th place gets to play the second. So if you win Pro D 2, you go straight up. And if you come second, you get to play the 13th and top 14. So it's kind of like a promotion relegation, and that's how Biaritz got in last year. They bet Bayonne in a kickoff, like an actual 22. Oh, wow. It was a 22 kickoff, and our number 8, Stefan Armitage, got one of the kicks over, and that's how we got up in top 14. So
what was the kickoff score? Was it 5-4?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. I think so. I think the first 2 or 3 had all got it from both sides, and then they missed one, and then Steph, the number 8, went up and kicked it over. And,
game over.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Absolutely cracked it. Yeah.
Oh, so much from each club relies on this one kick from a number 8 who's probably never kicked a goal before.
I know. And no, he does. Trust me. Every single training he's out there, he loves it. He loves it. He's out there. He's out there kicking it.
Wants the first choice
every second he can. Yeah, he doesn't want to be a third choice. He wants to be doing every single kick, I think, from now on, which I probably will let him, to be fair.
Yeah, well, fair enough. And how long are you at the club? Are you signed on post this year?
Yeah, so I signed for a 2-year deal, so this season and next season. So yeah, it was more. I didn't really want to move the family over for just 1 year, and I think the kids being 5 and 6, the boys being 5 and 6, sorry, it's a great age to learn a new language, and 2 years in full French school, I think they'll have a good grasp by then. And if we really love it, then don't know, we might stay, and if not, we'll head back home and see what happens and opens up after that.
How is your family's French? Are your kids are as intelligent as you?
Oh, mate. If they're as intelligent as me, they'll take at least 10 years to get the French down pat, to be fair. They know a lot more than they let on, I think. So, like, I'll be in a shop or something, or someone will be saying something, and then my son, Huxley or Toby, will come up and just be like, oh, he's telling us to go there. And I'll be like, hey, why don't you just tell me, or like, could you speak to him, or could you at least help me out? I think it's easier for me personally, just because I've learned a couple of different languages. I speak Maori. Learned quite a bit of Japanese, and then French. I'm in the environment every day with rugby, so it's a lot easier for me.
Look at you go, 4 languages.
It's just
one up on Victor.
Well, no, very badly. I can't even do English that well. So I didn't even pass a school cert, I don't think. So he was throwing big words around. I'll be just throwing the little 2 syllables.
Well, 4 languages though. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I didn't say that I was very proficient in either of them, but yeah, I can. I think it's just
say hello.
It's a good opportunity. Yeah, exactly. I can say hello. I can ask for a beer. I can ask for something else. So it's all good.
Living. Anyway, got plenty to get through in your journey. One of the great careers. But as always, we need to start at the start. So what was it like for young Elliot Dixon?
Young Elliot Dixon. Well, mate, I had my first game of rugby when I was 3 years old. I started with my brother, who's a couple of years older than me.
Yeah.
And we played for a wee club in Christchurch called Suburbs, which was like which my dad used to play for, and they used to be quite a good club back in the day. And yeah, it was just growing up and loving it, and it was full on tackle back in those days, which wasn't much of tackle.
Yeah.
Really, to be honest. It was tripping up over each other, and I didn't know what I was doing half the time, just there to eat the oranges at half time and run around and have fun. And yeah, so it was Christchurch. That's where I was born and raised and brought up to live and breathe rugby. And then we went to Sydenham at a young age. And after playing for Sydenham for a while, I went to St. Bede's. So yeah, it changed from club rugby to first 15 rugby and schoolboy rugby.
And what were you like as a teenager? I could imagine you being at the skate park or doing all sorts of teenage stuff.
Right. Yeah, I was probably a naughty kid. I was a naughty kid, to be honest. I never skated. Can't skate.
Oh, yeah.
I still can't skate. Can't surf. Can't do anything like that. But I was there for a while to eat my lunch and to train and to play rugby and just to hang out with my mates, really. Probably got around the bad crowd for a little bit, but my parents thankfully sent me boarding in my last year of school, which was a godsend because I got to be at school the whole time, and I probably played my best rugby for the first 15 that year as well, and then it kind of just launched from there. And yeah, they got me through that, which was good, and thank them very much for putting me through boarding school at that time.
When did you know you were good at rugby? Was it earlier on than that, or was it sort of that period of time?
I was good at rugby when I was younger because I was quite fast. But then when I think a lot of the boys got bigger and stronger at that, like 13, 14, 15, I kind of didn't. I wasn't big. I was quite small. And then, so I was making all the rep teams up until probably 11, 12. Yeah. And then I didn't make a rep team until under 16s when my dad actually took me he's a police officer, to the police gym in the off season in Christchurch in Central. And I started to go to the gym 3-4 times a week. And I came back from 4th form to 5th form, and I'd grown from maybe 5'9", 5'10" to 6'2",
Oh.
6. Yeah, so went from short to scrawny and tall, and then changed from being a fullback to being a loose forward, just because I've always wanted to be a loose forward, just because it looked like they had the most fun.
What was your gym program like at 16? Gee, sounds like a beast.
Mate, I wouldn't have a clue. I was just following Dad, and I don't think Dad knew what he was doing. To be fair, it was off the cuff. It was quite funny. There was before, I think now with schoolboys rugby, there's quite like a high performance and gym programs, but it was unheard of in 2005 of kids going to the gym at 16 or 15 and getting ready for a rugby season. Yeah. You just didn't really do it. Yeah. You went to Kaiteriterri Beach for the New Year's, you hung out, and that was it. You didn't go to the gym in the police gym in Christchurch and try and get swole.
Mate, but it obviously paid dividends for you and St. Bede's, because you carried that college side for a couple of years there. I think the only team you couldn't quite get past was the mighty Nelson College, from memory.
Yes, I know, mate. I was Nelson College, yeah, bitter about that, to be fair. But yeah, we had a good bunch of guys from 2 years that just came up together, and we had some really good players. And I think from that St. Bede's squad in 2007, I think we had 3 or 4 New Zealand schools reps, which was unheard of from St. Bede's at that time. We'd kind of been up and down quite a bit and a bit of a lull, and we won the Western Cup off Christchurch Boys High. So, Nelson College played up there, versed them in the final, and we lost that, so we won't talk about that much.
Did you make New Zealand schools?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah. I was actually co-captain with Robbie Robinson was captain, and I was co-captain. I think we were the first team in like 7 years to lose versus Australian schools. So it wasn't a good thing. Yeah, we played over. I think we played over in Brizzy.
I thought you were going to give me an awesome stat there, like a real
No,
success.
No, just a real humble co-captain, first ever to lose in 7 years. So yeah, I think it was something like that.
And then you ended up making the New Zealand 20s as well.
Yeah. So the year above me was like they had New Zealand schools, then they had New Zealand 19s, then they had New Zealand 20s. So they cut the New Zealand 19s the year that I could have been eligible. So I was a bit gutted about that. So we had like a whole year of, I got signed in the middle of my seventh form into like the Crusaders Academy thing, and just trained with them, and 5 in the morning, ridiculous hours, and 6 at night, and trained to pretty much to try and make the 20s, which was the big goal. Yeah, to get the 20s, because if you got to 20s, the New Zealand 20s, then you get a contract. Is pretty much was the go at that time. Yeah.
Were you training with the actual Crusaders, or was it just the academy group?
No, pretty much the academy boys, but it was pretty much all the Crusaders now, or boys that had been the Crusaders, or most of the All Blacks that were the academy. So we'd come in at different times. So we'd be the first in the gym at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and then we'd get out before the Crusaders or the NPC team came in. And then we'd be the last in at night to train either on the field or at the back of Rugby Park. So, we're short end of the stick, but that's what happens when you're 19 and I think I got signed for $1. I think it was $1 contract, literal dollar contract. So it was one of the biggest contracts I've ever signed for.
Paid in one payment or spread out over 12 months?
Oh, no. I think they spread it out over 12 months. So I think I got like 12 and a half cents, and then I got taxed off that as well. So cheers for that labour.
Oh, good times. And was your New Zealand 20s campaign a bit more successful than your New Zealand schools?
Yeah. So we were the New Zealand 20s that went to Japan. It was the World Championship in Japan. So it was an awesome experience. My family went over with us and followed us around. But then it was also a bit of a bitter experience as well for obviously different reasons. With Zach's dad, Zach Guilford's dad, dying on the final whistle, pretty much at the final whistle of the final. So huge highs and then huge lows as well. So yes, a successful campaign, but then also, it's just a bit of a turning point for a good mate. Yeah.
So what was that like? Well, did everyone get told that news in the changing sheds after the game, was it?
Well, no. So we were pretty much we're in the middle of to accept the trophy, and then we kind of just saw a bit of commotion in the stands where you could see like your parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Saw a bit of commotion, and we're all looking up and wondering what was happening, and then I think Zach got ushered over, and then we didn't really find out much until later on that night, until Zach came back and told us about what happened, and his dad passed, and it was pretty a bit of a somber affair. It was pretty tough news to swallow.
Yeah, mate, that's brutal, eh? And Zach obviously would have been struggling over those next few weeks or years.
Well, years, and then he was pretty much straight into the All Blacks. I think straight off that straight after that, because it was 2009, and I think he made the All Blacks either that year or the next year. So it was, we had a pretty stacked team, and Cruden and Julian Savia and all those boys. So we had a really good team, and we played England in the final, and Dave Rennie was our coach, and it was just when Dave was just coming up, I think, looking to obviously get into Super Rugby and coaching, and he's probably one of my favourite coaches that I had up in. Like just a great game plan, like a great fellow, and knew how to build a culture, so that everyone would buy in. Yeah, it was just a good bunch of guys, and we obviously versed England, and we weren't expected to win. They had Courtney Laws and all those boys, and I think we put 40 on them in the end. So yeah, it was just well coached team, and with some really, really good backs, and us forwards were just battling away at the front.
Holding your own.
Yeah, we're trying to.
And then when you got back, did you have a decision to make to stay in Canterbury or head down to Southland? Was that an opportunity that you just couldn't turn down to head down to Southland?
Yeah, so I was kind of left in the lurch a little bit with Canterbury. They kind of said, yes, we're looking to sign you, but we're going to wait to see if so-and-so signs, and if they do, then we won't have space, but if they don't, then we'll sign you. Whereas I'd obviously been in the 20s team with Robbie Robinson, and me and him good mates, and he said, look, come down, we've got a great atmosphere down here, and they'd just won the Shield as well, and then I got an offer on the table with more money than I'd seen. That's a lot more than $1 anyway. So it was quite a easy decision for me to get an opportunity to play good rugby, because there's going to be Shield challenges, to get a chance to play in front of, it was going to be big crowds, because Southland hadn't had the Shield for 50 or 52 years or whatever it was. So it was pretty quickly signed, and headed on the way down there.
And how'd you find the culture down there? We've obviously had Jamie McIntosh on, and good John Hardy on, a couple of Southland lads as well. So they've told a few stories. How did you find it?
Yes, please. It was probably the best introduction into a semi-professional rugby environment I think you could have as a 19, 20-year-old. Train hard, play good rugby, but then afterwards enjoy yourself. Like the bar was packed after that. We'd always go back to the Spates Ale House in Cargill, because there's probably one or two bars, and go back there, and everything was put on. So it was literally, you'd sit down with every single player in the team, management, coaches, physios, doctors, and you'd just have a good night until 3 or 4, and then you do that every single week for a couple of years. But it was a cool introduction to rugby.
And what was your initiation like? I heard it was something to do with milk. Sounded like a good one.
Oh, so initiation. Oh yeah, I think we had to, if I'm not mistaken, when you get your first game for the Stags, you have to do you scull a couple of beers, do Stags Raw, and then that's usually just the docile kind of bit. And then at the end of the year, we had a trip to Queenstown, which was usually always the best time of year. So we'd rent out a bus. We'd stop off at every single pub on the way to Queenstown from Invercargill, stay the night at the Backpackers, and then day 2 we'd go to Arrowtown and then come back the other way. And there'd be like a yellow jersey leader and all that sort of stuff. But on the first day, there's always an initiation where the first years have to do like it's pretty much like a down up with beers, but then milk in the middle as well. So you'd do a down up, drink a beer, run, keep running, then down up, drink a milk, running, down up, drink a beer. Yeah, sculling the beer. You're not just drinking it. And then obviously chucking up at every 3rd or 4th step, and this was before social media and iPhones or camera phones really took off. So it was probably for the best, to be fair. It was quite quite a cool experience, but then also looking back, got away with murder probably.
How many shuttles did you have to do?
Oh, yeah, it felt like a lot, but it was probably walking pace by the time I was doing it. I think we had to do, it was either 2 milks and 4 beers or something like that, 10 metres apart, so it might have been 6, but it took different people, different times, and yeah, so it was just a crack up. Everyone would just get in behind everyone, and obviously just yelling abuse. And this is when even like the physios and stuff were coming, and some of the S&C were on board as well, and the coaches came on the first day. It's like you'd never see that in a professional environment these days, but back in 2009, 2010, that's what happened with the Stags.
That's good stuff. And what was your favourite Shield game?
It was probably versus Otago. That was our first Shield game. So we'd played obviously the Lahore Cup winners and Meads Cup winners. So I think it was, I can't remember who we played. I think we played either North Otago and someone else beforehand for those. But the first game, our first Shield defence was versus Otago and Nimbers at Rugby Park, and it was packed, like I reckon 20,000 people. It was my favourite match just because it was an introduction for me to professional rugby and to Shield rugby, which I'd only ever watched, but never been really a part of, and the rivalry between Otago and Southland, and just the hate that we had for each other. Even though I was from Christchurch, I still hated them. But I remember having a laugh with I think Tomo and Thompson at the bottom of a ruck, and like during the game, and he's like slapping me on the head, and I was like, "This is random. He's in all black, and we're playing in a Shield match." And in Invercargill is quite a surreal moment. It was quite cool.
You were what, 19? Was this your debut game?
Yeah, it was my debut NPC game. Yeah, I'd played the 2 previous games. So that was my first class debut was versus North Otago, I think. But then, my NPC debut was versus Otago and Shield match. So it's pretty special to get a debut like that, yeah.
What were your nerves like leading up to that game? I could imagine you looked like a very calm customer, but even at that age, what were you like?
Yeah, I still get nervous now. Like I think I'm into my 13th, 14th year, I still get nervous, but I think that's a good thing. Like if you don't get nervous about a game or something, then you're not in an uncomfortable position, and you want to be uncomfortable to get growth or to play well or to perform. So I do remember throwing up before that game. That's the first time and only time I've ever thrown up. I'm blaming the doctor though, because he gave me some bad caffeine pills, I think it was. So I blame the doctor. And the nerves here. I was wrecked until the kickoff, and then as soon as the kickoff goes, I'm sweet. It doesn't faze me after that.
When did the decision to move to the Highlanders come about? Was it always the Highlanders for you?
No, it was open. I was open market for anything, but they were the first ones to come calling. So they actually came calling after only 7 games of my first NPC season. So just after my birthday, they offered us 2-year contract, and signed it straight away. Pretty much just said, "Yep, I want to give it a go." They were a gritty team. Let's just say they weren't the best team at the time, but they were always in with a chance of winning. And then also exciting because they had new coaches coming, and Whopper was the captain at the time, so he was in my ear trying to get me to come. And there's quite a few of the Southland boys at that time. We pretty much had a starting 15 of Super Rugby players. So it was a pretty quick decision to get on board the Highlander train quickly.
Mate, you said they weren't the best when you arrived, but mate, you got them right to the very top, didn't you? You got them all the way there, carrying them on your back.
Not me, mate. Not me. It was a lot of Jamie Joe just down ups and 12 rounds and blooming fights, and it was the first couple of years I think was an eye opener for me as a professional outfit. We were a good enough team from 1 to 15, but then any injuries or after 10 games we fell off. That's because usually Jamie Joe didn't rotate or didn't allow any of the younger players to play and build depth. So there was pretty much, we bore the brunt of that when we tried to buy a championship in 2013. It was probably the best team on paper that you could ever have. Like, we had Tony Woodcock, we had Andrew Hall, we had Jamie McIntosh, we had Brad Thorne, we had Lurchie, we had Jimmy Cowan, we had Colin Slade, Jose Gia, Tamati Allison, Martin Nonu, all those boys, and we went 0-9 for the first 10 weeks of that competition.
Crazy. I remember that. Owen, what was it? You're calling each other Owen or something?
Yeah, Owen. Yeah, me and Owen are hanging out. But we finally got Owen away because we played the Sharks at home and they didn't want to lose to us. So they didn't take the penalty to draw it. They went for the try, and I think they knocked it on over the line or something like that. And then the next week we flew to Africa and lost to Port Elizabeth, the Kings. We lost to the Kings in Port Elizabeth. That's how terrible the season went. And it just went, it was a dark time for a Highlanders fan and Highlanders player.
So how did that turn around?
That's a good question. I think it was a change of mindset. Instead of just being the battler, we tried to take on more of like a rebuilding phase or like a championship mindset, and it also helps when you get Brownie in the coaching staff, and then we got quite a few guys from different teams that didn't get shots. So we got Malachi, we got Waisaki, we got a few of those kind of guys that were there or thereabouts in different teams, but then had a chip on their shoulder and really wanted to prove people wrong. So like a Mark Reddish and Alex Ainley and stuff like that, like just guys that were just solid ball players, good ball players that would go all day for you. Probably not the best, flashiest guys, but then you put a good game plan, good coaching, and a dynamic 9-10 wingers around them, then I think that's where it started to build up. In
2015, it really built and it got you all the way. But one thing that obviously happened, 90% of the questions that came in for you were obviously about the one try. Everyone wants to know, honestly, did you score it?
Which one? Was this the first one during the season, or in the final?
Have you scored more than one try in your career? I
think I've got 3. I think.
Oh, that try in the final. Go on. What do you reckon, honestly?
Okay, honestly, should we slate clean?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. I think it was a try.
Yeah.
I think it was a try. The only reason why I got up shaking my head, well, there was actually 2 reasons. Because I was carrying you, I think near here. I think I was carrying about 4 other guys on my back, so I was actually quite sore. So I was shaking just.
Sore neck.
Oh man, get off my back! No. But when I reached out to put the ball down, I saw Bodie's leg, kick out, and I felt my hand go down onto his leg and the grass,
and drop it.
And then I felt the ball get kicked out and dropped it. No, I didn't drop it. No. So I was 50-50 on what actually happened. Did he kick it before I put it down, or did he kick it after? And once I saw the replay, I obviously knew easily that it was after I put it down. Yeah,
mate, you must get that question so many times. Do you still get it now, like when you go out and stuff? Everyone wants to know, eh?
Yeah, and it's so much fun because of like Andrew Mulligan and Bryce Casey, obviously the Hurricanes fans, and I just rip into them. It just comes up on like Super Rugby finals things, like in 5 years ago this happened, and I'll just be like, tag, and then it will just be blowing up every single time, and they'll just hate it. It will get hundreds of likes. They'll get commented on, and yeah, I do. It's quite a surreal moment because that was actually my 50th match as well. So I ran out by myself to a full Cape Town with 35,000 people. My son had just been born. Huxley had just been born. He was 4 weeks old. We were there with my wife Paige and all my family and stuff like that. So it was ridiculous. It was a pretty cool experience, and then a very hazy week after, to be fair.
Yeah, what was that like? Did you have to fly out for the Maori tour?
Yes, I did. I know that sounds like I'm disappointed, but yes, I did. Yeah, I like.
Well, at least you got on the plane. I know Shane Christie didn't, did he?
I know. Yes, Shane Christie. Yeah, I think he nearly lost his job because of it. Yeah, he was like the Wolf of Wall Street. I ain't leaving. But yeah, I was kind of just about to do the same thing, but then I'm glad kind of that I did go and play, because obviously I'd been talked to by the All Blacks coaches, and they'd said that I was there or thereabouts, and if obviously I just turned around and said, no, I'm not going to the Maldives tour because I want to get on the RAS for a week and a half with the boys and not get out of my kit and just go to as much as I'd love to go to a court session with Mark Ellis running it. Yeah, it was a different goal in mind after that.
Yeah, and where was that Maldives tour?
It was to Fiji, and my goodness, they had some big boys playing. Holy heck. Oh, and they had Nadolo. He was playing like wing, but then he was just doing hit-ups and seemed to be coming down my channel every single time. Like I was like, come on, cuz, go the other side, please. Just go like go left, or step onto the other side, or run at our 10 instead of running at me. Don't have to run at me.
I always thought it was just me thinking like that.
No, I'm always trying to send them back in. Well, that's why I loved having Marty Banks outside me, so I'd send them back out to Marty. They're not going to run into me. They're not going to try and run to me. They're going to just run at Marty.
Any other stories on your Māori tours?
Yeah, so my first ever Maldives tour in 2012 was an absolute. This was before it was like, you know how it was All Blacks, and then they kind of made it high performance. Yeah. Maldives, the Māori team to be high performance. This was before that. That was pre everything. So this was Jamie Joe's second year of being Māori head coach, and we were touring to England. So we were playing in some random places. We played in Oxford. We played in Doncaster. Don't even know where that is. Right up north. And then we played like Canada, and then this random Challenge Cup team. So we go out one night in Doncaster, and we're drinking. We have a few beers, and what we're drinking is Duff beer. Like from The Simpsons, Duff beer, you know, it's a thing over there. I was like, what the hell? Is this an actual beer? And Jared Hoiara is biting people. Hika Elliot is trying to tell people how good he is at sweeping them and throwing them over, and how he's never lost a karate fight in hundreds of karate fights. And then we literally, I turn away from the bar, turn back, and I see 15 Lebanese guys absolutely smashing all the Māori boys. There's a huge fight, like 15 on 15, Lebanese versus Māoris, like everyone's in on it. I was like jumped out. We're all pushing everyone away. We're just all running, gapping it, because obviously we didn't know where we were, and it was in quite a bad neighborhood. Yeah. We run around the corner. There's like people getting laid out. One of our biggest locks get laid out on the ground. We're dragging them away. We get into taxis and we're just like, just get us out of town. And this is all kicked off because Chad Hoyata goes and bites the wrong person because he thinks it's somebody else. I think it was him, or it might have been Kurt Baker. Kurt Baker was on that tour too, and it was just a menace. We were like, there was a reason why it became professional after that year, because probably too many of those stories came up. It was no good. It had to be.
Oh, that's good. Mate, and obviously your Highlanders career, very successful. You talked about your 50th game, also your 100th game. You managed to get to 100 games. What was that one like?
First 2 years, I played 2 games, got injured. James Haskell had come over, so I thought I had a chance, and then ripped my pec. And if you'd told me in 2012 that I'd be playing 100 games, I would have told you to probably fuck off and what have you been doing? So that was an amazing experience to get to play 100 games at Forsyth Bar as well, and run out with my kids. But the funniest story, well, looking back now, it's funny. At the time, it was quite scary. Was that a couple of days beforehand, we'd done this drill. That the field that we trained at was pretty dirty sometimes. Like I don't know if they used to not fertilize it, or they used to, like, I don't know, I'm not too sure if the sewage just used to run off it, or all the boys from Castle Street that used to be here on the first years used to just get drunk and piss all over it or something. We're doing this drill where you'd be on your knees and you'd be tackling, and I had a wee cut on it, and obviously did the drill. And I've had cellulitis, which is like 2 years before I had cellulitis, which is like a blood infection which can turn septic, and obviously can get pretty bad, and was in hospital for 2 weeks. But leading up to my 100th game, the Saturday morning of the game, 3 a.m, wake up and just got this burning sensation in my leg, and straight away, like, I know, boom, I've got it. It's like the early onset of it. It's already big, it's like swollen up, it's like this red colour, and it's agony, like in pain. So I ring up the team doctor. I'm like, mate, I need to come see you right now. I've got an infected knee. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, come down. We'll give you some antibiotics and you'll be sweet to play. And he looks, I get there at about, I think it was about 5, 6 a.m. He looks and he's like, no, you can't play. You can't, like, look at it. It's like this big. And I'm like, no, well, I'm not going to play. I've got 100 games. Kids are excited to run out, and I'm not just going to be like, no, we're not doing it. I'm playing. So whatever you have to do to get me on that field, you have to do it right now, and we have to get it done. So he chucks an IV into my arm and pumps me full of IV fluid, antibiotics, oral antibiotics. Take those, some pain medication, and then I go home for a couple of hours and I'm just wrecked. Like, I'm not sure. It must be just a side effect. You're just tired as, and I'm just asleep. And wake up for my alarm at 11 to go back and do it again. Get another IV, some more oral antibiotics, and then so this carries on. I think 3 or 4 times before the game starts, and half an hour before the game starts, I'm still have the IV, like before the warm up, the IV sticking out of my arm, and he's just pumped me just before the warm up. Just, here you go, mate. Last one, we'll get you through. And I was like, oh, sweet, cheers, mate. Medicinal help, run through. Finally get onto the field first with the kids. Like, awesome occasion. Get my media presentation and patu at the end of the game, and yeah, like, it was obviously wasn't hurting by the end of the game because I wasn't thinking about it. But just a crack up story, and just a way, like, of course that's going to happen to me when it's my 100th game. Looking forward to it, and it's just something that you just can't really describe what happens. Like, what the heck's happening here?
Did you ever think that you weren't going to play?
Yeah. I thought, like, probably when I first woke up, I was like, mate, I spent 2 weeks in the hospital last time. on like straight on morphine. Like I was wrecked. Like I couldn't walk. I lost like 10 kgs, and it was tracking up to my groin. So it was quite a bad one. But yeah, I think it's because I got the signs pretty quick that I was able to get to the doctor at random time in the morning and get that the antibiotics in quickly, because the first time I got it, I only had oral antibiotics, and that obviously weren't strong enough. But the worst thing was, I thought, played my 100th game, happy as, they'll give me a couple of weeks off with the kids, and I get to watch the boys in South Africa, and I'll just have a couple of weeks off to heal, probably have to go to the hospital and maybe get my leg drained out and just carry on like that. And the team manager, Moose, at the time comes over, he's like, "Hey, Elliot, Dicko, mate, you're travelling. You're travelling. We really want you to travel." I was like, "Take the piss. I've just fucking, do you see what's happening down here? Like, my knee is heavily strapped, and it's still this big purple, red, and just like hissing hot." And he's like, "Yeah, but we've got a plan. We've got a plan, mate." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, here we go. Yeah, tell me the plan." So they said, "Okay, you're going to sit next to the doctor for the whole flight, for every flight. So we're going to go from, obviously, Dunedin and go to Joburg, land in Joburg. And it's a 16-hour flight from Sydney to Joburg. And he's going to give you an IV. We're going to put the IV in before the plane, though, just in case. Because, 35,000 feet in the air and blood and probably pockets of air is probably not a good thing and could be dangerous." So I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure, yeah, why not?" So every 3 hours I'm waking up, sometimes I'm asleep and I'm waking up and he's just like this, just putting stuff into my arm, and I'm like, this could look so bad, like people could just be like in first class walking past, like going, "What are these guys doing? I'm in Highlanders kit," and my doctor is just like putting antibiotics into me through an IV in my arm, which he makes me hide.
Yeah.
Like every 3 hours, they have to hide it just so that air hostess doesn't get freaked out and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing there?" So it's just, I ended up playing the game too. And yeah, I'm glad that I did get to go to Africa, because South Africa is probably, as you know, some of the best times of your life.
Mate, go on, keep going. I want to hear some more about your African times, because I know you've got plenty of stories. One in particular I've heard rumours about is your time at the Bulls after the Bulls game, 2015. Go on.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Where did you get the source from? I just need to know who's been telling lies or who's been telling. Yes, I do. I do have a couple of stories from that, actually, to be fair. So we were, I might as well tell the story, because James Haskell told the story about the other incident and made a book about it. So we'll make a killing, me and you, on this one, and go from there.
Split it 50-50.
Hopefully we don't get
sued.
And
we'll get to Haskell's bit later.
Yeah, exactly. So after the Bulls game, I think we lost the game. I'm not too sure. We never really had a good track record versus the Bulls in Pretoria. It's just a tough place to play in Joburg. You're at altitude, and the first week's always the hardest, as you know. Just trying to get used to it. It's like trying to breathe through a straw when you're running and stuff. And the boys were a bit down in morale after the loss, so we thought, okay, sweet, we'll go out. So the coaches set us a curfew of 2:00. So Ben Smith at the time's the captain, and I'm the sheriff. So the sheriff is kind of like fines master, kind of tries to implement like that sort of stuff, and like regulations and rules, and like a dress code and stuff like that. So I'm trying to back up Ben and back up the coaches with the curfew. So we go to a place called Tiger, which is if you're very familiar with Africa, Tiger is probably, a lot of boys would know what Tiger is. It's just like a dance club kind of, but more like a long bar kind of with a big square dance club and a huge DJ set, and a lot of people usually go there, and it's usually in the safer areas of Joburg. So we're allowed to go there, only allowed to go there, and not allowed to linger outside or anything like that. And first rule of Africa is always stay with the guy with the gun on the security detail. So yeah, we get there, and it's good. It's good. We get there, I think, after the game, because the South African games we usually finish at about like 5 p.m. So we start drinking obviously at 5 p.m. We don't get to Tiger until like 11. We've had a mini kind of court session where you sit down, just have a few yarns, and everyone's feeling pretty good, and no one's really wasted or anything. It's just a good vibe, and everyone's having fun. And then obviously the rand is a very weak versus the New Zealand dollar. So 50 rand can buy you pretty much anything in a bar. So the funniest thing I've ever seen is we walk into this bar, into Tiger, and the boys just go crazy, and they bring out these huge bottles of Grey Goose with sparklers and like coming out like that. And I think it was like 100 rand, which is like nothing. Well, no, it was like maybe 200 rand for like 5 bottles of this Grey Goose. I go to the toilet, I come back, and the boys have already started downing them, and everyone's like just completely lost it. I go outside, I go talk to a couple of the bouncers, and Cuban, who's the security guy. I'm like, mate, it's going to kick off in here. The boys have lost it. Like we're about to go south pretty quickly. And you know we're going to go south pretty quickly when Ben Smith's like, nah, we're pushing it out. We're pushing out the curfew to 3. We'll go to 3 o'clock. We're not leaving till 3. So I was like, well, okay, if you're saying 3 o'clock, and if the security guys all good with it, we'll go 3. So it gets to like 2:55, and people in Bender's ear and like, come on, mate, let's go to 4. Let's go to 4. I'm like, mate, we've got to get going. So I slowly start with Cuban and start slowly getting the boys into the van. And mind you, I'm pretty pissed at the same time. So like I'm probably thinking that I'm helping, but I'm probably like, hey, Cuban,
you're in Bender's ear till 5.
I'm probably walking off in the wrong direction. Cuban's probably like, what are you doing, mate? Come and help me. So we get down to like the last 2 or 3 people just like scuttling away, trying to get away from everyone so that they can have the last couple more drinks. And there's probably about 5 people left. Bender's there trying to get a few other boys. So Ben Smith's there trying to get a few other boys out. And Ash Dixon's at the bar. And I go up to Ash and I'm like, mate, we've got to get going. And I don't think he even realizes it's me. And he's just like, nah. Kind of gives me a shove, and I'm like, sweet, that's right. I was like, don't shove me. You don't need to do that. And then I was like, mate, we've got to go. And I like tap him on the shoulder. He's like, he gets up and takes a swing. And I was like, oh, come on, mate, don't do that. We've got to get going. We're going to be left in Tiger in Joburg at 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning. And I don't know about you, but I don't really know the way back. So I go up to him again, and I've gone and I've grabbed him. I was like, mate, we've got to go. And I've tried to bring him with me, like in a kind of like a, not a bear hug, but like just a grab. And he comes and he punches me. He hits me, he jaws me, just gets me a good one in the jaw. And then I've just, the switch is gone, and I've just pivoted beautifully. Just a beautiful pivot off the foot, right hand, and just uppercutted, bang, and he's gone down, and he's down, and the security guards are like, you got to get out. They've kicked us out. And but the worst thing is he's not getting up, so he's on the ground for a while, and we're like, well, what do we do? So we start dragging him out, and this is like, we're dragging Ash out. A few of the boys are trying to help me. And then because he's a Hawke's Bay boy, a couple of the Hawke's Bay boys like Richard Buckman and Brendan Edmonds come over to me just about to punch me. And I'm like, mate, I was literally trying to get him out. Bender backs me up and he's like, yeah, he was trying to get him out. He hit him first, blah, blah, blah. They cooled down and we're trying to carry him to the van. At 3 a.m, Cuban security officers like, what's happened? I left you 2 minutes ago to get the last 3 guys, and now there's somebody knocked out in the van, not waking up. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I've texted my wife, and it's just like, I think I was incoherent as well. I was inebriated. I think a stiff breeze would have probably knocked anyone out at that time. So it's probably a lucky blow as well. But the next morning we wake up, and I remember everything that happened, but Ash doesn't. So we get called in to see Jamie Joe, and he's like, "Hey, bro, how you going, man?" And I was just like, "Can't remember, can you?" He's like, "What?" I was like, "You can't remember what happened last night, do you?" He's like, "Oh, what do we do? What do we do?" I was like, "No, mate, we got into a fight." And he's like, "Oh, no." So we get stood down pretty much because we were meant to start the next game, me and him both. So we get stood down and we can only play off the bench. And it's an absolute debacle. Like, Bender's like, oh no, what have you guys done? I was like, it's Tiger. It's South Africa. TIA, as they say. This is Africa. Just something's in those black label drinks and those big bottles of Grey Goose, and it all kicked off. And luckily, nothing worse happened. To be fair, it was just. Oh.
Man, that is such a loose yarn. I love that. And this was the year that you won it, eh?
Yeah,
2015.
exactly.
So,
yeah.
Maybe that's the reason.
Well, no, the funniest thing was, well, not the funniest thing, is actually like me and Ash, like, we had played against each other quite a bit because he was Boys High and I was St. Bede's, so we were quite competitive. He had just come that year from the Hurricanes, actually, and he was really good friends with Nasi, and Nasi was the captain with Ben Smith. So obviously I'd heard great things about him and good team man and stuff like that. But we didn't really talk much, to be fair. Like we played and we got on, but not really talked that much. But up until after the incident, and then we actually became a lot better friends after, just because we had a story that was so crazy and so silly. That and he was like, I'm so gutted because I wish I wasn't so drunk, then I would have tried to hit you better. And I was like, I know, I think I got a really lucky one there. So like, it's actually, yeah, I think it probably brought us a bit closer because we just had a little bit of a point of difference where we could just refer back to an absolute crazy night in Tiger after the Bulls game.
Mate, one of the great yarns. And you already sort of spoke about it before, but the James Haskell yarn, I know he has published the yarn from his side of things.
Yeah, bro.
I'm sensing it might not be quite right. Let's clear the air.
Okay. I'll try and clear as much as I can. So, first things first, we have a party. So this is 2012. So I've just had pec surgery. So I've got my left arm in a sling. So we go over to James Haskell's house because he's invited everyone over just to have a few beers and drinks, and obviously that's probably not the best idea to do anyway at the end of season. Usually have it at a third-party event place or like a club rooms or just out in the bush somewhere so you can just don't worry about anyone's house. So the funniest thing is he's at the time, I don't know if it was Tomo or Haskell, they've got like DJ decks or sets or whatever, and they're like trying to do their own beats, and it was terrible. This was before they were actually all right. So the music was terrible, the vibe was all right, but it was a bad season for us. We ended, I want to say 10th out of 14. There was probably just a bit of a bad vibe in the area already, and I'm in the kitchen talking to Jimmy Cowan, and talking to a few other boys, and it's all good. We're sweet. And then I hear this commotion from outside, so I go have a look, and Adam Thompson's dared Lima Sopoanga to go throw an egg and crack an egg over Haskell's head. So I was like, oh, okay, that's quite funny. That's quite, like, obviously, yes, you're just going to wipe it off. But he goes into a rage, like Haskell goes crazy and like unleashes on Lima. Lima wasn't really expecting anything and gets towed. Like, he's gone. He's on the ground. He's out cold. And then Cade Pokey, if you know Cade Pokey, you know Cade Pokey because you're from up those ways. He is a powerhouse of a wee man. He is probably the scariest man, probably, if you were in a ring in a very small size that you couldn't run away or use your reach. He's a very scary man. Like, he'd be 92 kgs, but 91 of those kgs is just muscle. Yeah, all power. And he just comes up and Haskell's and just absolutely just starts bang, 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 knocks him like for days, like just 10 punch combo, 11 punch combo. And then Haskell throws a couple more punches back. And then everyone, Tomo's in the background who started it all laughing. And then just like, obviously it's gone a bit too far. And then he's like, oh, fuck. He tries to hold everyone back. There's people, everyone's just like jumping on sides and we don't know what to do. It settles down. So we're all good. And then we go back into the kitchen. Jimmy Cowan's obviously got a little bit heated and he's thought he saw a fight and his blood's boiling a little bit.
It doesn't take much.
I don't know exactly. He switched and he's decided to pick on the lame guy with the bad pec with one arm. Obviously he's an easy target. So he comes up to me and he just says something real out of the blue. Like, me and him have been getting on really well up until then. Like, we've been talking, we're having a drink together. At the time, I had very long hair, kind of dreadish. I'm in like a bomber jacket, leather bomber jacket, looked like Once Were Warriors with a sling, black jeans, black combat boots, kind of. And he comes at me, smacks me in the face, and I'm like, mate, you can't be doing that. And then, so I just again, I go and just smack him, like roundhouse and get him good. Another clean shot, which was, I don't know how I keep on picking them. But
mate, 2 from 2, exactly.
I think it's when I get to a certain point of drinking, there must be a part of the chin I can get. So I got him a good one. So he's out of the fight quick. It's not messy. We're all good. And the night goes on. The night goes on so much that we start trying to burn down Haskell's house. Well, we don't, but Jamie McIntosh and Jason Rutledge are out the back by the gas bottles, lighting a fire by the gas bottles, throwing stuff onto this bonfire. And he has to call he actually calls the cops on us because he's lost in a fight. He's got all his clothes being thrown into a pit. He's got his couch being thrown outside. He's got a couple of people knocked out in the kitchen. He's got 2 lunatics that are out the back trying to start a fire. And then so we disperse. We're out on the road, and I start walking to Cade's house, which was just down the road a bit further, to carry on drinking, which is probably the worst idea. And out from nowhere pops Jimmy Cowan, like the Undertaker, just pops up like this. I'm like, what the heck? Like a king cobra snake just comes up, and he comes rushing at me. He's like, do you want to go? I'm like, oh no, Jimmy, come on, mate. We don't need to do this. I'm in sling, with my hair down. I've got a swapper crate bottle in my hand, and I'm like, bugger this. That's it. Drop the swapper crate bottle and just headbutt him, and he's out cold, and he's straight to either the A&E or the ambulance, and he's no good. And the worst thing was, it was his last year, right, with the Highlanders. He turns up to his photo, because it was the day before the photo, or 2 days before the photo, and his nose is no good. He's got a black eye, he's got a busted lip, and it's because of me. and he's like a 100-game legend for Southland and the Highlanders, and I've just gone and done that, and I've walked home that morning at 7 a.m. Kids were going to school, and my wife, Paige, is just like, "What are you doing? Look at you. You're an absolute munter. You've just gone and done this." I was like, "Oh my goodness, what have I done? What have I done?" But it did get like, yeah, we're mates. Like Jimmy's an absolute gem of a man, and it's just like some things.
Yeah.
It's just when you mix alcohol into any situation with guys that are pent up, a little bit of psychopaths, because we play rugby anyway, and usually spells a bit of danger for, it seems like, other people at the moment. So, yeah.
Two of the craziest yarns I think we've heard ever on the podcast. So good. How did the boys find Haskell? Did they get along well with him? Did he fit into the environment?
Like, I didn't mind him. Like, it was different. Like, it's quite different. I think if you took things to heart, you probably wouldn't enjoy his company. He's a lot of banter, but I think it was just the English guys. That's what they're brought up on, especially witty. He's very witty, very quick. He's obviously made a name for himself doing podcasts and all that sort of stuff and writing books. And he's smart and he's quite quick, but he could never get Retallick. So Callum Retallick was part of our team at the time, and Haskell had like a black bit in his teeth. And so Callum Retallick would just come at him straight away in the morning. "Sup, Tartooth? Tartooth, how you going, mate?" And Haskell would just be trying to quip back at him, but he'd just be like, whatever, get out. And I think it broke him. Like, he really wanted to go at Callum Retallick, but Callum was just so funny. He's one of the funniest dudes to be around. And yeah, like Haskell was obviously pretty cool to come and experience Super Rugby. It was quite cool for him to do that. But I think for us, I think we, as like a loose forward pack, we probably weren't as inviting. I know that sounds bad, but because we wanted that spot, we didn't want to be giving that spot up. Especially me, I was really gutted, to be fair. So I was pretty happy when Cade went nuts on him. But no, we caught up a couple of times after that. I think I saw him once on a Maori's tour, and then I think he's good at what he does. He's got some good banter, and can't really say much. He never did me any wrong. He was a genuine, just a guy that liked to chat and have banter.
Yeah. Mate, what a Highlanders career. Well, we do need to move on to obviously the pinnacle, the All Blacks.
Yes.
Talk me through how you made the All Blacks. I always love hearing the stories about how guys were first picked and their first sort of week in the environment. Yeah,
okay. So we played a game versus the Canes, actually. This was just before the team announcements and stuff like that, the June Test Series versus Wales in 2016. So we'd play the Canes at the Cape Tin. I think we'd just lost. And the next day we flew back, and it was actually my son's first birthday. And all the family around and stuff like that. And then I get this random number pop up. And I wasn't even thinking about the All Blacks. Like, I'd heard my name kind of being mentioned on the news and stuff like that, like potential bolters or lists and stuff. But I hadn't really had much like communication with the coaches or any of the management or anything like that. So I wasn't really expecting a phone call. And I got a phone call from a random number, picked it up, and I just took myself to the bedroom, picked it up, and then just got it there. Hey. Is this Elliot Dixon? Yep. You've made the June All Blacks Test versus Wales. You've made the squad, the 36-man squad. We need you to be up in Auckland on tomorrow. We'll fly you. We'll get you all your sort of stuff sorted. So just pack a small bag. We'll get everything sorted for you, and see you tomorrow and get ready for the next month with the All Blacks. And I was just like, what? And I kind of like went numb and like, I was like, yep, okay, yes, sweet as, like, cool, tried to be cool, calm, collected, bang, phone call. And I didn't tell anyone for the whole party. So I was like, because I didn't know, I didn't want it to be like at the party for a first birthday, like for my son, and be like, hey guys, you actually made the All Blacks. But I told my wife, I told Paige first, quietly, really quietly, and then as my parents were leaving, I told them as they were leaving. They obviously, it was quite an emotional time. They cried and I cried, and they had like a teared up, and yeah, but I just didn't want to like shout it from the rooftop, and I just wanted to, it was such an exciting thing just to keep to myself, a little secret like that. Well, a huge secret like that was pretty cool.
Mate, that is cool. And then what was it like going into the environment? Did you feel comfortable?
No, not really. It was quite hard, man. Like, it was the first year, obviously, without Richie. So, he's left in 2015, and I think everything was just like under scrutiny, or like everything's a bit more on edge compared to what apparently the boys had said like earlier years or years after were, because obviously I was only in there for that year. But my first week, it's just the introduction stuff, the photos, the Christmas Day where you go get your kit bags and anything you pretty much want out of the ADS locker, and your first day of training where you wake up 4 hours before the actual time of the bus and you're just sitting there like this, sitting in front, and my roommate, who was my roommate, I think it was Sam Kane, was my first roommate, I think, and then I had Jerome Kino a lot, which was quite awesome, because just wanted to be a sponge with one of those guys, one of the best players in the world, and me and Liam Squire roomed quite a lot, or me and Luke Romano as well. So it was just a different atmosphere compared to been with the Highlanders, where I'd been for 6 or 7 years, and I was myself, and I'm quite a jokey kind of guy at training, pretty lax in meetings. I'll crack a joke and stuff like that, but at the All Blacks I was just like this, and I didn't want to really, I didn't feel like I could be myself enough, which I did start to become like during later on, after I got picked for the Tri Nations, and then I got picked for the India tour. I started to, more of my character came out, and I got more comfortable, but I never really got the chances to play. So yeah, it was quite a negative effect on me, on my rugby career. It was just that like, it was an amazing experience and loved it, but for me personally, I don't think that it was going to be a fit in that environment for me, whether it's skills or the type of player they're looking for. I'm not too sure, but it was an amazing experience, but it wasn't the be all and end all of my rugby career. You know, like, I wasn't absolutely devastated to not make the All Blacks, or to never play another game for the All Blacks. Like, I would have loved to have played the Lions tour, but it's one man or two men opinion of a team. That's what I used to get told when I was little, and it's still to this day. You know, like, you can't really dwell on things that you've got no control over. You play a game, get paid well to play a game. You can't really be complaining about too much.
100%.
Yeah,
that's a cool mindset to have, because you did burst into the All Black scene, the sort of international scene, and obviously I knew how hard you were to tackle in that final. So I did expect you to have a long sort of All Black career. Looking back at it, is there anything you would have done differently to potentially have stayed in that environment for longer?
I'm not too sure. That's a real hard one. It's a good question, but it's a real hard one, because it's like do I change personality-wise myself and to fit their mould?
Yeah.
Or do I keep true to myself and maybe not fit their mould and go into a different direction, but just still enjoy my rugby and still play, and maybe not play the test, which I didn't, obviously. So I think I don't regret anything that I did or did not do. Like, I trained hard. I showed up. I tried to play as hard as I could when I got my chances. I never badmouthed anyone or dropped lip at training. If I was on the bags for 9 weeks straight, which I was during the rugby championship, I still always do it with a smile and always be there. And it's just because I love a team environment. Like, I don't play rugby just to get paid. It's because you've got 30, 40 other guys that are good people, and you get to hang out with those people as long as you're not on the piss all the time trying to fight each other. So it's I don't think it's a good question, but I don't think I would have done anything different. No.
What was the feedback they gave you? Did they give you much feedback when they didn't select you?
It's quite an interesting one. So I'm not too sure if it was the senior players or something that they didn't like about me, but I got feedback saying that they didn't think I took either game day or training seriously enough. So that meaning, like, if it's game day, they didn't like me smiling or like having a joke around or stuff like that. But that's just me. I've always been like that. Like, especially under pressure, I like to smile. Like, I've never been one to, on a rugby field, to get into really a fight. I'll usually just laugh or just like I'll smile at somebody. That's how I deal with pressure. Like, I don't get angry and have to act like I'm like focused. I can switch it on and off. Well, I've been lucky to be able to do that, but I got that feedback from them, which was quite odd for me, because at the start of when I first got picked, they're like, "We want you to be who you are." Like, that's what I got told. So I was being me, and then I got told that they want me to be different. And then it really sunk in when we went to like they'd obviously talked to Brownie or Jamie Joe and told them that he needs to calm down, because they said Brownie, for the first time ever, he didn't mind me having a laugh and a joke, and like, he knew that I could switch it on and off in a game and training, and he actually had a go at me and hit me up in the airport at the start of the preseason in 2017. And I was like, hey, where's this coming from? Like, left field. And then I later found out that it's obviously come from the selectors. Yeah. So it is what it is, man.
It's crazy. I think Lima sums it up pretty well when he messaged me saying that before the 2015 final, when he was trying to be serious, you let out a massive fart just to ease the tension. That pretty much sums up your personality.
Yeah, like, I was nervous I was so nervous to run out by myself. And then we're in the huddle. So I've run out by myself. We're in the huddle just before the game starts. And I absolutely rip one, like, bad. And I just start laughing. I'm like, boys, we're going to have to move. We're going to have to move. And I think that just like everyone just went, like, calm down. Like, it's just like one of those little icebreakers. Like, if you go in and someone tells a joke and it just takes everything away. Like, we're playing rugby. Who cares? Like, just give it a shot. Give it a roll. It was one of the funniest moments. Looking back at that day was me going out there, and I've nearly shit my pants pretty much running out onto the field at the halfway line in a huddle just before the final of the biggest game of my career.
But you definitely didn't feel comfortable enough to rip one out in the All Blacks.
No, I did. That's probably why I didn't get picked again.
Classic. So is that what inspired your move to the Black Rams in Japan?
Yes, yeah. Like I'd always been interested in playing in Japan. Like I'd always been pretty interested in going to a different culture, quite close to New Zealand, one flight and stuff like that. So, and I was eligible to do that because I played over, I think it was 80 games for Super Rugby caps you could go in between. So I did that for 1 year, and then I got my 100th game, and I decided, look, I've given what I can give for Super Rugby. It's time to go and give it, do something different. And then it turned out that it was coronavirus, and everything just got turned upside down. I played maybe 4 games in 2 years, and it was my family couldn't come to Japan, and then it was just a time where rugby wise wasn't going well. Family wise, we were distant and long term, like trying to be a parent from Japan when your kids are in Christchurch. It was pretty hard.
That's tough, eh?
My daughter got born. I saw her get born. I was there for a week, and then I was gone, I think, for 10 months or something like that. And then I came back, and she was nearly walking. So, it was
madness,
yeah.
And is that why you moved to Biaritz in the end, so that you could all be as a family, even if you were overseas? Yeah,
like financially speaking, it's probably not the smartest financial move. Like Japan's great money, and you get a gig in Japan, you get paid really well, and that's awesome. But that just wasn't for me. That wasn't something that I really. I'd rather be with my family, getting paid a lot less than getting paid heaps, and be without them. So we decided as a family to all go try and make this experience pay off and see what happens from there. But exactly. That's exactly why we came to Biaritz or to France, to Europe.
And so what's the plans going forward? You've got another year in Biaritz, and then just going to see what happens?
Mate, wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a clue what's going to happen. I'm going to try and learn some French. I'm trying to learn a little bit more French. But just coming back, trying to get back in from my injury. I just got a blooming hematoma. Have you ever had a real bad hematoma before?
I feel like I got one most weeks. They're shocking. My skinny little chicken legs used to just cop them.
Mate, I had one, and I shit you not, they got 250 mils of dead blood out of that leg. I couldn't walk for 4 weeks without a crutch. And I'm slowly getting back, and I was just like, and then never ever broken a finger, and then I come here and look at this finger, the first week of France. Thanks, mate. Can't even wave at anyone. Hey guys, how you going? Dislocate my thumb. Do that. I'm just like, what's happening? But
how is the body in the whole scheme of things?
Some days I feel great. Some days I feel like I'm 27. How I act like a 22-year-old. But my body at the moment, when I had COVID and the injury, I felt 45, 50. So, but no, when I'm playing and training, it's good. Like, I'd play for free. It's just the training that I get paid for. It's literally, that's like, if I didn't have to train, man, I'd be so happy. But I'd play for free, definitely.
Do you think you'll keep playing for as long as you can?
I don't think so. I'm not too sure. I'm a big believer in calling time when I want to call time. Like, I don't want to get to the stage where I'm not getting picked, or get to the stage where I can't play because I'm so sore, or because my body just won't let me. I'd rather get to the stage where I'm still playing good rugby, but I choose to walk, or I choose to go, or I choose to do something different. Whereas it's because I feel like then that's on my terms, and I've done my bit when it comes down to it, it's a small part of your life, really. Hopefully we live till we're 80, and I played rugby for 14 years or 13 years professionally. So it's a little part. And is it really going to matter if you played 3 more years in France or in Japan? And when I don't think so. So yeah, I'd like to, if I'm playing good rugby still, I'll keep playing rugby. But if I feel like I'm either body-wise, mental-wise, or anything like that, not into it, or don't love the game anymore, then definitely I'll pull plug. Because that's always.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't think you can go out and play rugby at a 50% mindset or a 50% body. Yes, you can with your body. You can stretch yourself up and stuff, but mentally, if you don't love the game still, you don't want to get up and train and get up and smash people. There's no point of being out there. You might as well just do something different. Try and do something different. What? I'm not too sure, but we'll try and do something different.
Yeah, have you got any idea on what you'll do next?
I'm hoping that Lotto comes in good. I'm a lottery. Big fan of lottery. Nah, I'm not too sure. I've got a couple of options. I've got a couple of investments and stuff. I've been called very thrifty in my time. With back in the day, I used to save a lot, and I've managed to be able to put it into a bit of property and make some not too bad financial decisions with other parts of my money. And so now it's just the goal is to
retire.
Well,
straight feet up.
No, don't be silly. It's to have a job that I enjoy, but you don't have to worry about paying the big pressure. Mortgage, the pressure of the mortgage, that's taken care of. Or it's more just you get to do something, even if it's not a well-paid job, but you enjoy it. I'd rather do that than try and financially just keep getting ahead. I'd rather just enjoy what I do and see what happens from there, to be fair.
100%, mate. You're right on. You're killing life. Love it. Anyway, we've got about 1,000 questions that came in for the great Elliot Dixon, so we will crack on. Most of them are about the try, so we've covered that. Clear knock on. Thanks for answering that one. Yeah, knock that on. I didn't. Yeah. First question from your great mate Aaron Smith. Ask him about the Bronco and the Mizuno boots.
Ooh, yes. This was my last year with the Highlanders. Ran my fastest ever Bronco and Mizuno boots because I was always Adidas. I'd always been Adidas. And then I was like, nah, I'm not getting anything out of Adidas. They've got Aaron Smith. They've probably given him 150 grand, I'm getting the dregs, drips and drabs, So I hit up Mizuno. I get these flash-looking things, and I do my Bronco fastest ever Bronco time, 4:44, which at 110 kgs I was pretty happy with, and that was in 2019. That was my last year with the Landers. So thanks, Azza, for bringing that up. That was literally, it was one of my best times, and I kept on going up to people. I was like, "What time did you do? What time did you do?" It was the boots.
Oh, good stuff. Next question. Are the Stags the greatest team ever? Lots of questions about the Stags.
Yeah. Well, for me, personally, in that era, yes. In 2009 to 2013, it was the greatest team to be part of, More so than being part of the Highlanders from 2010 to 2013. I'd rather, I trained during the Highlander season to get ready for Stags season. It was, and I've always been wanting to get back. I was about to go back to the Stags, but this opportunity popped up in Biaritz, and so the Stags definitely hard.
There's another question that came in a lot. Would he come back to the Stags and play?
How much?
What's max? 55?
Yeah, no, I think I would if if I could come back and play and still play good rugby, then yeah, I definitely would. I was about to do it. Like as I said, I was about to come back and sign for not much money. It was just more just to get back to the union that gave me a start.
Oh, you're a lad. Love that. Okay, next one. Do you play the ball out of a bunker?
Oh, this is golfing? No, I never do.
Yeah.
I never do. I either foot wedge it or do the old swing, throw it up with the sand in the air. No, okay. What actually happened was I ripped my pec during the year in Japan, and all we were been doing was playing golf because it was the COVID, and the only thing we could do was play golf. So I ripped my pec a little bit, the same one as back in the day. So I actually couldn't hit the ball out of a bunker for a long time, and then I played on that for 6 months after it healed. So, so no, I don't hit out of bunkers still to this day.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Next one. What is your favourite haircut you've had and why? And you've had some great haircuts.
Well, I'll actually look at this, mate. I bought them back for you. I bought them back. I've got the doozies of the dreads back from the dead.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah, so I had those back.
That's good. Eh?
Back in 2017, I think was. I had some absolutely terrible lids. I think if you go to my first 2011 Highlanders photo, I've got like this little, you remember those little braids that you used to have at the back of your hair? And it's one of those.
Yeah.
And I look like an absolute clown. And I think I've just been trying to top that ever since. Just trying to get worse and worse.
You've had some nice cornrows.
Yes.
Remember the cornrows?
Yeah. Cornrows.
The pink hair in Japan?
Yes, pink hair in Japan. I just got really bored and isolated without family, so that's why I blame my mental breakdown on that. But yeah, I think it's more just because I love giving my brother shit because he's losing his hair, and I just love doing random stuff with my hair because I know that one day I'm going to probably lose it, and I give people so much shit about losing hair that like I'd rather have heaps of different random as stuff going on that I can look back and be like, at least I tried it, at least I gave it a go.
Oh, I like that theory. Okay, next one. What was your Uber Eats bill a week while living in Japan?
Who's that from? Is that from Berkey, Keegan Ferry? Okay. Yes, I did. I can count on one hand the amount of times I cooked in 12 months in Japan.
One hand.
Yeah, I think I would usually eat McDonald's at least 5 times a week.
What?
Yeah, like I'm blessed with a great metabolism. Like I'm very lucky, but it's slowing down. It is slowing down, but I've been blessed. But yeah, it would have been in the hundreds of dollars per week, easy, in Japan.
And is that breakfast, lunch, and dinner? You're only eating 5 times in 12.
Yeah, like I didn't go to groceries. I didn't do grocery shopping.
That's living.
It is, isn't it? What's the point? Like how it's depressing cooking for one.
And it ends up being about the same price, especially over there, eh?
Yeah, like you go for a ramen over there and you pay like $8 New Zealand, whereas you try and make a ramen at home, you have to buy you have to buy like 55 kgs of noodles to get your money back after, you know. It's not going to work.
Smart, very smart. Okay,
smart man, is it?
Is it true you faked a dead leg just so you could get a puff of the green morphine whistle?
That's good stuff. No, I actually did have a dead leg, and that's the one that I was talking about recently. So no, and I know exactly who that will be.
No one gives them any credit, eh?
Nah, like I can handle pain pretty well, like cellulitis and stuff. I didn't. Promise.
Okay, next one. Ask him about his drop goal attempt at the New Zealand 20s.
Yes, I don't know. I can't remember who we versed, but I did do it. We had a penalty advantage, and I kicked it just to hopefully get the penalty, and I think it rolled along the ground. I think it went backwards. I'm not too sure.
Okay, you haven't done another one since
No.
then?
No, I did not. Although I am 100% in Super Rugby for kicking.
At
Yeah.
goal? Was this
Yeah.
on your 50th
My
or
100.
100?
My 100.
Or last game?
No, not versus the Hawaii's. The game before, after that versus the Chiefs. I think I got a Waratahs. I got a kick at goal.
Where was that from?
It was about 50 out from the sideline with the wind against me. No, it was pretty much in front. Like if I missed it, it would have been pretty bad. Yeah.
Okay, next one. Is it true you are so humble that you changed your cod name to Maori WC after winning 20s?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, I did. That's how humble I am. No, there is a reason as well, because the other one that I usually have, Māori GC, was taken, so I had to go something else. So I went WC, world champion. Might as well. It's the only one I've won. Who keeps pulling these out? Holy heck.
Mate, you've got some friends who follow What a Lad, that's for sure. Okay, ask him how he met his wife, Paige.
Oh, this is a good one. So I was just back from under 20s and was drinking a lot. And if you know Christchurch, there's a place called Bush Inn, which is right by the uni. And there's Bush Inn Super Liquor. And so we used to go there. Because I lived at this place in Roundtree Street where my brother stayed and he studied. I didn't study, but I stayed in a uni flat just because it was by the uni parties. And me and my mate Tahi and a couple of other boys would go to the Super Liquor down the road. So one night I went down to the Super Liquor and there was this lovely looking lady that was, you know, those drink stalls that they get you to taste test sometimes. And she was selling this drink called Envy. It was in this green can. Can you remember that? It was this green, yucky, disgusting drink. I bought 2 cases of it in the end just because of it was trying to flirt, and ended up her chasing me on Facebook, and that's how it started. Yeah.
Wow.
It was just a random thing. It was quite funny.
You must have flirted well at the...
No, I was day 3, I think, and I looked probably horrible. I'm not too sure what happened there. She must have had very low standards at that time. or her eyesight has never been tested.
Oh, it's good stuff. Okay, last question. Okay. Elliot Dixon's best advice.
Best advice?
Yeah.
So who to, though? That's what I'm going to ask you.
Okay. The average Waterlad listener.
Okay. Best advice. That's quite a hard question, bro. My best advice is probably mentally take care of yourself and enjoy what you're doing. Even if it's like 20 minutes a day, just take time to take care of yourself. Like that's going for a walk, that's going to the beach, that's talking with your loved ones, that's being with your kids, that's playing PlayStation, playing Xbox, getting out in the open air. Like mentally take care of yourself and enjoy being present. And if you can do that and have some people around you that are good friends and spend time with them, and hopefully have a partner or someone that you can be with and have kids and something like that, then enjoy all that, because it's an amazing part of life, and you've got to soak up because it goes pretty quick. It goes bloody quick. I remember when I was 21 playing for the Stags, and now I'm 30 whatever playing for Biaritz.
Mate, that was powerful.
Cheers,
really powerful stuff. I feel like I didn't go deep enough with you through this podcast because, geez, when we got there, You brought out some
Thanks,
absolute
bro.
gems there. Love that.
I'm like an onion, bro. You just scratch away those surfaces and you'll start crying too.
Mate, obviously, this has been one of the best podcasts yet. That was some of the best yarns we've had so far. And like we just talked about, so many layers. Like you've got all these different sides to it. Really enjoyed that yarn and really appreciate you coming on the podcast,
All
mate.
good, brother, man. Thanks very much for the invite. Awesome. It was just good to talk to you. Obviously, it's pretty hard to top this one, so you're going to have to go big or go home. So look forward to listening to it.
Yeah, mate, I feel for whoever's next after this one because this one of the greats.
Cheers, brother.
Appreciate it though, mate.
Cheers, man. All good, bro. Keep safe.